It's the Riot Podcast. Hi.
Hi, Obi.
We're back.
Yay!
Today in the podcast, a lot of talk about Obadiah's time in Orlando.
Obi was gone on Thursday and Friday in Orlando.
Yes.
Made it back on Saturday in time to not be there for the hurricane.
Uh-huh.
So the stories about that are in this podcast.
They are indeed. So let's see. That hair in your stomach, do you have any?
Not hair on your stomach, hair in your stomach.
Also, I went to Universal Orlando. Someone threw up. Star Trek, which may lead to more throwing up. Let's see. There's a lot of really nerdy stuff in here today. We talk about Star Trek, the Orville, and comic book sales.
Did you put it in there?
Oh, it is also.
We talk about it, how it did over this past weekend.
How did it do? So that's their, seems like a pretty full podcast.
Just good to be back.
Yes, indeed. I'm really tired.
I bet you are.
I know that we're like always tired.
You really have a reason, though. I mean, you had a long last couple of days.
It's been crazy time. I went to this convention thing that kept me busy like for days and days and days, like all day, super long days, and then the hurricane.
Then you had to get out before the hurricane. Everybody's going crazy.
Hey, there's Hudson. Hi, Hudson. Hey, guys. Hudson seems pretty excited.
In case you can't hear it, he went, "Hey, guys."
He's pretty excited.
You're in the podcast intro, Hudson.
We got a real look at where Hudson's at today.
Yeah, and that's sad. That's all
good.
right.
So you guys enjoy the podcast. Pretend to smile a little more than Hudson just did.
Don't forget to join us at Radio U Riot on Facebook. We've also updated our Radio U Riot YouTube channel with a lot of new interviews. So propaganda's there as we ascend and more, and that's at Radio U Riot.
It is. Take it away, Nikki.
The Riot.
Sometimes a bad example is the best example. It's the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
We're back.
Yay! Woo! You made it.
I made it.
We had a plan just in case.
What was the plan?
Well, just to back up another worst of Riot.
Oh, okay.
It was all ready for today, just in case you did not make it back.
A smart plan. It was looking highly likely. If you don't know, I was in Orlando. It's funny, the flight to Orlando was empty. Not a lot of people trying to get down. But if you wanted to come back...
On Saturday when you came back.
Actually, no. Saturday, that was the best day to come back. I was at a conference, and I got there Wednesday afternoon, whatever, and I got... It's like you walk in and everybody's turned into your mom. They look at you like, do you know there's a hurricane coming? You're like, no, I didn't catch that on every major news outlet in the airport, on my phone, on my watch, my shoe was telling me there's a hurricane coming.
But everybody thought it should be fine if you were coming back on Friday or Saturday. But Friday seemed to be the day that everybody
panicked.
Because rightfully so, everybody needed to evacuate around that time if they were going to go.
Well, and it really turned into this. It was all about where you were. Like Miami, bad. Orlando, like bad, but not like bad.
Was it bad also just because of people who were leaving from southern parts of Florida who were traveling through? That was bad.
There's this epic narrative that I could spin for you, but it really just comes down to the tourists were freaking out and the locals were fine. And the locals were taking care of the people from Miami that were coming in. So a lot of people from coastal Florida were moving into central Florida. So the hotels were booked up, all this stuff. It was weird. There were dogs and cats everywhere.
Oh, but because they're letting pets in?
Yep, they let pets in because of the evacuation. But then again, the locals, fine. The tourists, panicking, panicked. I mean, some of the people I was at this conference with, it was like, I got to get out. It was like, you have a flight for Friday afternoon. It's not really supposed to get here till Sunday night. I got to get out now. We got to get out.
Friday was a crazier day than you felt like Saturday when you flew out.
Absolutely. I feel like if all the people that had originally had flights for Friday and Saturday would have just waited for their flights, it would have been very calm. Because the airport when I went on Saturday was mostly calm.
But later they were closing. So
complete kudos to Southwest Airlines. The only thing that made me super nervous when I was at the airport on Saturday was, there were two things. One, when I turned in my rental car, they were like, just leave the keys and go. And I was like, whoa, wait. Somebody's like, we're not checking cars in. You have to just leave, because there were so many people returning cars when I was returning mine. That didn't make me super comfortable. And then when I walked back, past. Okay, Southwest Airlines, they were spinning like a top. Like, everything was perfect. All was good. All was whatever. Like, you walk past Virgin Airlines, I don't know what. I have no idea what was happening with Virgin Airlines, but I can tell you this. They had a line that was 100 miles long.
Aww.
I mean, it was enormous, and it wasn't moving.
I bet they have more international flights leaving, so maybe that was a little bit more time-consuming.
Whatever it was, I just looked at it, and I was like, man, I feel sorry for you guys, but I'm really glad
Normally it's reversed.
I'm not with you.
Normally you hate that you're with Southwest and you're on Virgin, but instead it's reverse.
It was crazy town.
Well, glad you made it back in time for the show.
Let's do the show
We're
now.
have a very good week.
Yo, man, I'm so excited about this week. I can barely take it.
I thought I saw that when you came in. I was like, oh, he's excited.
It's just a glint in my eye. I just can't, I can't wait to catch up on email and just, there's so much fun stuff happening. You don't even know. Meetings. Yeah.
There might be extra ones because you're back.
The Riot with Obadiah.
Them honey buns and Cheetos done caught up with me.
The Riot with Nikki.
Yeah, she's a liar because I don't know her. So whatever she says is a lie. So
The Riot, Radio U.
It's morning. Who's hungry? Anybody? Like, show of hands? Okay, I see that. Wow. A lot of you guys, right? Ready to break your fast?
Get in the food game already for the week.
You've been seeping all night. Now, you could head into the kitchen, or, sorry, I meant into the McDonald's kitchen, the drive-thru, have them throw a little something out the window at you. I get it. I do. Or have you considered just eating your hair?
That's an option, too. Now, this is a syndrome, and this is a weird one.
Yep.
It seems like they call it like a Rapunzel syndrome, where
Yeah.
you chew and eat your own hair.
You just eat your own hair. I've seen girls do this. Like, I'll be in
Chew
class.
on their hair?
Yep. Like in class or something, look over and just see a girl like chewing on her hair. Obviously not knowing she's doing it, just like paying attention, chewing on her hair, and you're like, oh, wow.
But for this syndrome, like you're actually eating your hair.
She's so dreamy.
I don't know. Not after you see these pictures.
Can I chew on your hair with you?
No, once you see these things, it's very gross.
There's a woman in India that she was having abominable pains. And they
nausea and was very sick.
Very, very sick. And they're like, what is it? And then they finally figured out, oh, hairball.
I like how it finds you out. You know, that might have been your own little private problem. And you're like, well, you go to the hospital and it found you out. They know what you've been doing.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly what happened. She had to have surgery. They had to cut her open and pull out
a hairball.
A 2-pound hairball
from her stomach.
And I'll just tell you right now, when you see it, and you're not going to because whatever, like it's the shape of her stomach. It looks like her whole stomach was full of hair.
It really was.
That's so disgusting.
I said she did not. I can't. Yeah, no, wow, she weighed that little. Oh my gosh, she weighed just 66 pounds.
And 2 pounds of that was hairball.
As a 20-year-old. Wow, because she's not eating food. She was just always sick because of eating her hair.
Oh, man.
Because she would throw up everything. Wow, that's really bad.
That's crazy talk. Like, so now she's recovering, but she's going to get a lot better.
She needs to stop eating her hair. Yes, she really needs to.
Yes, Nikki, I think that's key right there.
Oh, gross.
There's been a significant intervention here. We got to get back to the not eating your hair part.
That's number one important thing, but I bet she'll feel a lot better.
Okay. Now, I don't want to tell people what to do, but I think maybe she should shave her head. Just for a little while.
Oh, no, you don't mean that in a mean way, but just no,
I seriously mean, like, we're going to remove temptation.
And then you get stronger, you get better, you get healthier, and then maybe you can fight that.
Then maybe it's time for us to, growing the hair back out. But, this is a habit. Like, I bite my nails. They say it's bad. I don't know. But this is a whole nother, wow.
You don't have to apologize unless you've done something wrong.
Well, I'm sorry. I can't even think straight right now.
This is the worst of the riot. We're very, very sorry.
I will say, if you want to know what I've been doing for the last few days, you can find video of me on our Facebook pages, Radio U and Radio U Riot. I was in a Walmart during a pending hurricane, And I just want you to know that a lot of people probably will watch the video that I shot and be like, he's exaggerating.
Well,
that's what broadcasters do. They make a big story out of nothing.
It was easy to understand once you started showing the shelves of like everything's gone.
It is the weirdest thing. Okay, think about this. Like, first off, you go to the store and they don't have things. That is something that in general our brains just don't get. We're like, of course they will have all the Lucky Charms I need. And it's like, no, bro, they didn't have things. The cereal aisle was devastatingly empty. But you go in there, you know you need to go to the store and get food. So like in my particular case, it's like, okay, if I get stuck here in this hurricane, which was a decent possibility, I'm going to be in this hotel room. I'm going to be sitting in this hotel room. I might have a refrigerator, maybe, if the electricity stays on. But I won't have anything to cook with. Hopefully, I'll have water. What am I supposed to eat? But in the middle of that, it feels like everyone else is on a shopping spree. So you're wandering around. And at some point, I just started throwing food in my cart where you're just like, I don't know, whatever.
As long
just
as it's
that.
food, you can just eat it.
Just do that. I'll eat that. I'll take that. Like, what do you got? And some people are like, perhaps you could purchase. I loved some of the comments on my video. Like, get yourself an avocado with a squeeze of lemon. This way. And I'm like, you guys are not getting it. You are not getting it. It is crazy town up in here. Like, people were running into me, like, because no one's really paying attention to you. They're looking at food, like cart collisions, babies screaming. That was real. I mean, there are screaming kids everywhere in this Walmart. It was mass chaos. Now, nobody was being mean, and nobody was panicked, like, I'm going to fight you for the last Twinkie.
No, it's just crowded. Just everybody's on a mission.
Everybody was on a mission. There was no water, none, zero, zip. And at first I was hopeful. I get there to this Walmart in Orlando, and I look, and people are coming out with water, and I was like, oh, maybe there are cases of water here. There's no water. So I ended up I bought cups and saran wrap. And my thought was, I couldn't find any jugs either. Jugs were gone. But my thought was like, I could fill all these cups with water, cover with saran wrap, and I'll just it'll look like I'm about to play beer pong or something. But it's just
water.
Like, it's just water over there in the corner. Like, I thought all this crap out. And it finally occurred to me, okay, like bread and peanut butter. Boom. Staples. Do it. I found some peanut butter, and this might be my favorite moment of the entire trip. I got to the bread aisle and it's empty, completely empty, except there's this one little place where there are about 10 packs of buns left.
Okay,
and I was like,
great. You're like, there's some buns. You can find it.
It's like, I like a good potato bun, maybe with some peanut butter on it, sir, whatever. The only bread left in the entire bread aisle were packs of onion buns.
Now, in case you did not know, one man over there despises onions more than anything else in the whole entire world.
Oh, I hate them so much.
And that's not going with peanut butter.
I hate it so much. So I ended up getting some tortillas, which I had to leave in my hotel room.
Well, that's fine.
I tried to give them to people that
no
were
one
saying.
wanted the tortillas.
I was like, look, I have these tortillas. I have this peanut butter. I haven't opened it. I have this box of Lucky Charms. It's unopened.
Still weird.
And people are just like, no, I won't take your food. Like, no, what if you touched it?
It's fine.
Remember when we said things couldn't get any worse? We were wrong. It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
So, hey, last night on Fox, the Orville premiered. Boy, I saw a lot of promo for that over the weekend. I also watched, we were talking football a little bit ago, but I watched Oregon play over the weekend. That was on Fox. As a result, I was inundated
saw a lot of promos
with commercials for it. So
is this the Star Trek looking one with the one guy from Family Guy?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
That's exactly right. Seth MacFarlane is writing it. Apparently, he's maybe starring in it.
I thought he was in it.
Yeah. I don't know what Seth MacFarlane looks like, so I couldn't pick him out
Brown
of the
hair.
cast.
Average, normal.
Yeah. So, and then,
I think he's the captain.
Is he?
I think so.
I
think he's the main actor on it.
That very well may be. I really don't know. And maybe
Fox is sad to hear that.
Am I a bad person for that? Yep,
And Seth
nope.
MacFarlane's sad to hear about that.
Nope, that's totally him. He is. He's
you
the
couldn't
captain.
tell by his voice when you were watching it, or if you only really heard him in character.
Really only heard him in character? I don't know. Like already, we haven't even started talking about it. Already, Nikki's got me on the ropes. Like, you don't know who he is? You don't know what he sounds like? Who are you?
No, I thought you knew.
No, I didn't. And I watched half of it. I believe it was an hour. But with my new DVR software, it won't tell you how long is left in the show. They should really patch that in.
Well, they want that to be a surprise.
They should really patch that in. So I watched, I think the first half hour of it.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'll get back to it later, which of course I never will.
That's the kiss of death right there.
That's the way I am. But I'll have to say a couple of things. One, the software, oh my gosh, the effects, the visual effects, it looks really good. The production value on the visual effects is high. The sets look terrible. They look like a cheap...
I thought that's what they were supposed to go for.
I think so.
Like a jokey thing.
They've got a real... there's such a consistency about it that it's obviously what they wanted.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be just kind of like a sitcom set in space. Like, what if Star Trek was a sitcom? Like, it's a comedy, but I will say it was less of a comedy than I expected it to be.
Sure.
Now, unless later in the show things changed. But I was surprised by how much... It just was not what I expected. I felt like the show I watched and the show they were selling and the promos wasn't
quite
different.
the same.
Yeah. Though, and the other thing that surprised me is that I didn't laugh during any single promo. Like, I didn't think any of the jokes were funny.
In fact, when the Orville promo started to run, everybody expected you
to love it.
love it, but you weren't really very interested in it. Did it make you laugh during the actual show?
It did. There were several jokes that really hit for me last night. The best of which was the ogre that was in the simulation. That was, to me, it just took me off guard, and I thought it was hilarious.
But still not enough to watch the whole episode?
Well, Nikki had a lot of things going on last night. Not to mention, I will have to say, not to oversell it, because we're always tired, right? We're always tired. Coming back from that conference/hurricane, so tired.
True.
And so last night, it was just like, look, you really need to go to bed. It's 10:30.
This isn't worth it. You've got to go to bed now.
It's too late. It's not so good that you want to be up even later. Like, just come back to it. So, maybe whatever. But hey, tell me what you thought about it. Text us 877-2-RADIO-U. Is it worth it for me to give another half hour of my life?
Or is that it?
Or
however long that's left.
Did the first half hour, was that good enough?
Imagine a world where the Riot never talks and it's glorious Radio U music for hours on end. Now, imagine the opposite of that. You're already there. It's the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
Let me tell you what right now. I just want you to know, everybody up front, I don't care
what you tell him.
How many times you tell it to me. I don't care what you do. I don't care.
All the tweets from the movie theater.
I'm not going to see it. I'm not.
But it was the #1 movie over the weekend.
Nikki, look at this unpainted clown face.
Look at this sad clown face.
Right. This is a clown. Doesn't care. I'm not
gonna go
doing
see it.
Stop trying to tempt me, everybody.
Well, it was a record-breaking opening. They thought it was going to make like $70 to $80 million, but the movie, made way more than that and came in with $117.1 million for its box office for this weekend, North American box office.
Yeah, just in North America. This is the one time that people are bragging about what they made in North America.
This is the third largest opening for a film, debuting in September. Oh, no, it's the largest opening for a September movie, but the third for the year.
Right.
It's just behind Beauty and the Beast and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
So it's weird. This is a non-Disney movie that made money, because I didn't even know they still made movies like that.
Like non-Disney ones.
Mm-hmm, that's right. And as Nikki said, it is the largest get a load of this. I couldn't find what it beat out, but it is the largest September opening by $70 million.
The other one was, I think it was Hotel Transylvania 2.
Okay.
And then there was one other like supernatural movie, like they consider to be in the realm of like what movies did it beat previously of that genre.
Well, it is the largest horror opening in history. So like
It's number
all we're
one on
saying
that.
is, and I don't think it has it anymore, but there for a while it did hold a 100 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's at 86 right now.
A little lower, but still people, that's what I saw the most about over the weekend.
Oh, everybody's talking about it.
So
Nikki.
the other thing they're talking about with it is the fact that they say the box office, like just movies in general for this year, has been at its lowest in 20 years.
Yeah, that's what they're saying.
And they
Something
think,
like that.
They think that it could potentially, like the person who's like, it puts some much needed air back in the box office balloon. Now, mind you, in it, there's obviously the balloon that the clown is holding. But they say that it's put a reset button, and maybe for the rest of 2017, it might bring back up movie box office numbers.
I mean, I get the logic there. The idea is that, hey, if a lot of people go to see it, then people end up going to see other movies. I get why they say that, but then I also don't get it.
Well, no, they're just saying in general, someone's going to see something, so this all counts in the box office totals.
So then at least somebody's buying popcorn.
Someone's buying something, yes. Or you go to see it and it's sold out. Maybe you see something else. Or maybe when you're seeing it, you say to yourself, you know what? I have a fun time at the movies. Why don't I go anymore? And then maybe that'll lead you to go to more through the end of the year. So they think it'll help.
I know. I'll buy this popcorn and then I'll throw it up all over the person in front of me.
Because I'm so scared.
One of the only things left that isn't owned by Disney. The Riot on Radio U.
Everybody gather round. It's time.
Well, you know what? I thought before we got into vomit, let's talk about Universal Studios Orlando.
Oh, so no throw up story?
Oh, I still have one.
Coming soon.
But, I mean, it might be a two-parter here. I went to Universal Studios Orlando. Zach and I did. The sports guy? Yeah, we went Friday night.
Yes.
And we got there at about 6:30, and they were holding an event called Rock the Universe, which was just like a basically music festival kind of thing. Supposed to be a 2-day.
Did anybody play or?
Everybody that was supposed to play on Friday night, as far as I know, did.
Yeah.
But
was there anybody there to watch them,
Saturday
or?
was canceled.
Canceled,
No.
okay.
I mean, like, I guess they had two stages. I never saw the second stage. I don't know where it was.
Maybe they didn't put it up.
But the first stage, there were, like, artists perform, and for maybe 200 to 300 people.
Sure.
I think they were expecting thousands and thousands and thousands.
There was, but because of the upcoming hurricane,
Right.
I think people just were not going out anymore.
Well, I'll tell you this. As a result, between myself and Zach, we managed to ride every single thing in Universal Orlando at least once.
And you rode the Simpsons ride?
I did ride the Simpsons ride.
I wish I could have been there for that.
I think the Simpsons ride might have been my favorite thing.
Out of everything?
I think so. And of course, it's older. And so I heard some people say, like, well, that one's old. It's whatever. It was. But the combination of the tech that they used and the quality of the animation and the humor, like, I felt like it all came together for a very great experience.
Is it a ride or?
It's almost everything at Universal is not a ride.
Not like a scary ride. You just hop in and go around the little land.
Well, no, you hop in something and it's all like watch a screen and you're moving with the screen. So, I mean, I know that there is a word for that, like a name for how those...
Motion sickness?
Well, there were definitely some of that. But, like... It was cool. We got on that. We got on Transformers, the Gringotts thing. We got on the Despicable Me one. There's a Shrek one, a Mummy one, like all these different ones. The only thing that I could think is that these rides where you're basically watching a movie and the seats are moving around, if I spent 3 hours in line for that, that would have been crazy disappointing.
But because no one was there.
Yeah, we didn't wait in line for anything. Everything was literally walk
right on.
Yeah, and the Transformers one especially, you could tell that they expected you to spend about a year in line before you got on it. It took 10 minutes just to walk back to where you actually got on the ride. And I'm not going to say that it wasn't cool, but my reaction to it was like getting off of it like, dude, if I had spent 2 hours waiting to do this, this would be the worst.
Disappointing.
Yeah, the one ride that I thought was fantastic, though, they have an actual roller coaster that's very good, and I can't remember what it's called, but it's their music roller coaster. So you get on it, you pull the seat across, and there is a pad, like a touchpad that shows up, and you choose what genre of music you want, and then it gives you, I think it's like 5 or 10 songs, and there are speakers behind your head, and you listen to a song while you are riding the ride, and everyone is listening to
different stuff,
something different, so you can listen to whatever you want. So the coaster itself was great, but adding your own personal music to it,
that was good.
Every roller coaster should
I've
let
only
you do
been
that.
to Universal Studios in California, but never been to one of the Florida ones. So seems like it was
a
fun.
good time. So my puke story in a couple of minutes is brought to you by The Mummy Returns.
Oh, I was wondering which land it comes from, or which ride.
The Mummy Returns, not the Tom Cruise one, the other one.
You're hearing it for the first time, and it sounds terrible.
It's the worst of the riot on Radio U.
So there I was at Orlando Studios, Florida. What was, I think, a pretty great place. Like, I don't know that I'm dying to go back, but
you had the perfect opportunity since there was no one there.
The park was, there was probably less than 1,000 people in the entire park. So got to ride everything, do all these things. It was great.
This was at Universal's in Orlando on Friday before Obi left on Saturday, so he was not there for the hurricane.
So Friday night, there I am. One of the last things, actually, I think it did end up being the last ride that I got on that night. I got on it. The Mummy Returns.
So which mummy is that for?
It was for the movie called The Mummy Returns.
But not the Tom Cruise one?
No. Back in the early 2000s, they made maybe it's the late 90s, I don't know. They made a mummy trilogy. Brendan Fraser, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And so this was an actual indoor roller coaster. So unlike a lot of the other things that we had done.
It was a real roller coaster?
Oh, yeah, it totally was. So you get in there, and a couple of their gimmicks that I thought were interesting. Sometimes you would go backwards. I think we may have gone sideways at some point. And then there were a couple of rooms that you went into where they had flames, like flames going across the ceiling, flames shooting out of, and it was hot, and it smelled like gas. And it was just like, I actually don't like this very much, but whatever. So we get to the end of the ride, and just this rando guy next to me, all of a sudden the ride stops, and we're sitting there, and then
he was in the seat next to you, or just near, like when you were getting out?
Directly to my left.
Oh, the seat next to you, and he threw up?
It was just like this very
violent.
It was this. Well, it was all very fast, and the thing that got me was like the ride had stopped. So like I thought, if you're going to throw up in a roller coaster, it's going to be on the hill, on the whatever. But this was the end of the ride.
Yeah,
and he just popped.
You just had to throw up.
And okay, Nikki, I'll have to tell you that I thought about you because, one, normally in circumstances like that, I would burst out laughing. But instead, I experienced
compassion.
Calm,
because you just can't laugh at him in front of him.
Calm and compassion. In fact, I still haven't really laughed about it, but I was just like, okay, this guy's really sick. All right. And then I just thought, might have gotten some on me, but I'm fine with it. I'm going to be fine with it.
Aren't you glad it wasn't during the ride? Or like if you were behind the person?
Yes.
That'd be gross.
And I did. I just thought, okay, I'm not going to laugh. I'm not going to cry. And if I have any on me, I'm going to calmly wipe it off as if nothing has occurred.
See,
it's
if
fine.
something happens to you that's truly terrible, your body just gets into this weird trance-like thing where your body's like, we're going to make this work. Okay, we're not shutting down.
I'm going to be fine.
You're so calm, it's scary.
The thing that bothered me the most about it was I was perfectly clean, by the way.
Yeah. Well, until you get on like micro level.
Right, on a microbiotic, yes, I'm filthy. But I get off, and I went ahead and told the lady, I was like, hey, and she was just like, that's fine. Like it was no big deal. And then it occurred to me, like, this lady's sense of calm about the fact that someone just threw up on the ride and she has to clean it up now. She's too calm about it.
And the reason she also breaks down.
The reason she's calm is because she does this all the time.
Maybe she's not the one. Maybe she delegates it, but you just don't know it.
Maybe not. But my thought was, I just looked at it and thought, the seat I sat in had been thrown up in for sure. The little strap that came across my waist, that's been puked all over. The handholds that I had my hands on, yeah, people just be throwing up on that all the time. No big deal.
So here's a couple of things that could happen with this. One, they throw that dust on it and they call it a day because that's the end of the
That's
day.
it. Okay.
2 is they never actually really clean it up. Or 3, they just hose it out and it's fine.
That's what I think
So
happens.
you just got to wonder where in the line is that.
But, Nikki, I feel like hosing it, I don't feel like that's I don't feel like that's all clean.
Maybe not.
I feel like maybe they need to get in there with some tweezers and some crevice tools and go to town.
They're not doing that.
They're not doing that.
They're not doing that.
They're not doing that.
They've never done that. Even on a normal cleaning or a deep cleaning day, they've never done that.
Send your complaints regarding that worst of the riot moment to Fire Obadiah at RadioU.com.
Hey, we're 2 weeks away from there being a brand new Star Trek TV show. It's going to premiere on CBS on TV, and then following that... Just the first episode. Then you're going to have to pay for CBS All Access, and then you'll be able to watch an episode a week. So you'll have to subscribe to CBS All Access for, I believe, 2.5 months.
They're so cheap they can't even just release all the episodes.
Nope. Well, because they know.
Well, they know you'll dump it after that.
That's the only reason that you could conceivably ever want to use CBS All Access.
So they think that if they can get you for 2.5 months, then maybe you'll forget about the fact that you have it, or maybe start to like it.
Well, at the end of the day, you figure, okay, let's say you were going to buy a box set on Blu-ray. That'd be $50. Subscribing to CBS All Access, let's just say it's $10 a month. I think you can do less than 10 or slightly more than 10, but that's $30 that you will have paid to stream that show. So that feels about right, but this will be the only way that you can do it.
But you're not keeping it, like you don't get to download it or anything.
No. This will just be
the chance to watch it.
So I have been not super interested in this new take on Star Trek. Obviously, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to check that first episode and see what I think about it. I think some of the casting has been really good, but I don't think I think it's looked okay. But I will tell you that the interviews that they did over the weekend, let's see if this makes you more interested in watching it, Nikki.
Like the press interviews? Or
They say that this show is politically charged.
Oh, no, I don't need that.
You ready? It's very reflective of the times that we live
the
in.
current times.
And are you ready? The Trump-era political divide.
No, thank you.
And there's strong parallels between President Trump, what's going on with North Korea, and et cetera, et cetera.
I don't need people's take on that to be in the TV shows that you want to watch. Everybody needs a break, and that's why you go to watch Star Trek. You're like, look, it's in a galaxy, and it's just something that's not here.
I don't want that. I want to be entertained. Like, that's part of what I want to watch. Guardians of the Galaxy. It's about a planet that eats people.
With some humor.
Something just ridiculous. That's what I want to watch.
No, I agree.
The idea of now the producers are teaching us about what it means to be human or whatever. No, oh my gosh. When I read that, it was like, don't roll your eyes, don't your eyes. Oh, they're going to get stuck. They're going to get stuck. I can't get them to come back down.
No, that's how it is.
I can't get them to come back down.
Whether however you believe politically, maybe we can all at least come together and agree, or maybe not, because sometimes on some sides you're perfectly fine with the drama.
Right.
And that could be both sides. But you need to have a break from it somewhere. And that's supposed to be in movies and TV shows, and I think a lot of people have problems with Hollywood or entertainment now because it's being brought into so many things that you don't want to see it in.
Well, the funny thing to me is that a lot of times people are like, I don't want people preaching at me on this, or I don't want to be preached at on that. But it's weird how we're perfectly fine with a TV show telling us how we're supposed to live, how our relationships are supposed to go, how we're supposed to feel politically. Like the way that TV is used constantly as a tool for social engineering is shocking. And yet we're just like, that's fine, but don't you tell me what to do. It's like, well, if the captain on the show gives a speech at the end of every episode about how I'm supposed to live, that's fine. I'm fine. See, that to me, I would much rather have you come up as a person and tell me what you think I should do than somebody I don't know, whatever, that's going to run it on some Oh, it drives me nuts.
I don't know if you're going to like it then.
I don't think I'm going to be able to take it.
I don't know you. I don't think you are.
The level of pretentiousness and self-importance that surrounds Star Trek these days, I'm like, guys, I'm here because I like spaceships.
And it's not about that anymore.
I like the ships.
That's the part it's not allowed to have in it.
Ooh, cool phaser, guys.
That's a weapon.
And, phasers, you're not, but weak, not, you know what, just let's stop right there.
Want to know what the Riot is doing right now? Follow them on Instagram and Twitter at riot.radiou.com. It's the worst of the Riot on Radio U.
One of the things, if you haven't been keeping score, I was in Orlando for a couple of days last week. And Nikki, I finally went to Wahlburgers.
Wahlburgers. So that is, oh gosh, why were we talking about it a few weeks ago?
Mark and Donnie.
Yeah, but why were we talking about it a few weeks ago?
I don't remember.
But there was something in the news. Maybe it's because they signed a deal and they're expanding. Maybe that was it.
Maybe that was it. I don't know. But it made me want one. And so I found out.
It's a hamburger place.
There was one. It's a burger place. And I found one in downtown Orlando. And took forever to find a parking space, but I did, and got in there and got out of my car, and it immediately began raining. And so I ran through the rain to the Wahlburgers and had a burger. And it was a very unimpressive looking burger, but it was delicious.
Yeah.
And I'm not just saying that.
On the level of like In-N-Out and Five Guys and Shake Shack, or what do you think?
Absolutely. Here's the thing. A lot of times you go to a place and it's like, oh, they've got a good kind of, it's just a burger. It just tastes like whatever. If you go to McDonald's or, some places, you're like, it just tastes like a burger. This had that flavor where you were just like, whoa, wait a minute. The meat of this burger is very good. It had a lot of flavor in it. It was delicious.
But you did not like the fries?
The fries were just eh.
Yeah.
I mean, compared to the burger, which I thought was very good. I think overall, I didn't get soda. I just got burger and fries, and I want to say it was like $10 or $11. That seemed
a little high, but not too bad.
A little high. Like for me, at $10 or $11, that probably should have included a soda.
That's the whole thing. It's like you should at least have gotten a bottle of water or something.
Something. I got a cup of water that I was able to refill, which is very kind.
That's about it.
And then I just felt like in general, I didn't have a lot of great food while I was gone. I went to Wolfgang Puck's at Disney Springs.
Yeah.
And got it was, what do you call it? You just went up to the counter and ordered, but they bring you your food. And so I got a barbecue chicken pizza there, which was good, but it wasn't like amazing.
Well, you're in the Disney Kingdom area where it's a lot of quantity over maybe 100% over quality.
Sure.
Like it's not like it's bad. It's just not going to be anything truly spectacular.
And then at Universal, I went to Mel B's Diner, which that was a take. If you've ever seen American Graffiti, it was supposed to be that from that movie. And it tasted like Burger King.
Yeah,
and
it might have been Burger King.
I think it was because my theory, for what it's worth, is they had the BK bar at Universal City Walk.
Probably fed that too.
That's what I think. It did. I think that place was actually just a Burger King. And other than that, it was just hotel food. That nothing to talk about there. But several of you have texted in and said they're opening a Wahlburgers in Cincinnati, Ohio. I would recommend it. Like, I think that if somebody said to me, hey, do you want to go to Wahlburgers today? I would say yes. I do.
I think, though, after we had talked about it, someone bought out a deal with them, and so they're going to be expanding way more.
Well, I thought it was worth it. I felt like it was a little more expensive than it should have been. I didn't think it was necessarily any better than like a maybe a little better than Five Guys, honestly. Like,
more
again,
restaurant.
The meat was very, very good. But when it comes to French fries, Five Guys just took them to school. Like, just smacked them around, threw them down.
The Riot.
All right, pace yourself because you're going to have to do this all day for very little money.
Radio U.
I gotta be honest with you. Something I've never given a whole lot of thought to, comic book sales. And you're like, you mean they're cheap? No. I mean, like, how many people are actually out there in the world buying comic books? Yeah. I subscribe to the Marvel Unlimited app.
Which I bet you is, what does that count, or has that hurt comic book sales?
Well, let me put it this way. I wasn't buying comic books, and I subscribed to the Marvel app.
But now you're reading comic books. But it's not the same as if you were still like buying comic books.
Well, I wouldn't buy them. They're too expensive. Comics are $3-4 a piece. Like, I just personally cannot afford to keep up with all of that stuff. And so, but by paying, do I pay $70 a year? I think I'd be spending $70 a month on all the comics that I wanted to read, and like I couldn't do that. But $70 a year.
It's better.
It's something I can do. Like, I literally have a budget. I put a little bit aside every month, and then I pay the Marvel bill.
So now, do they have a way for you to tell, like, oh, this series has done really well, or this hasn't sold good?
Well, there is a company that apparently keeps track of
the box office of comic books.
Yes, indeed. And they are saying that this year, comic book sales are down 26%.
From what, though?
From last year.
But no, I mean, like, I still want to know what's the starting point of the year. Like, are you saying they sell millions of dollars worth of comic books, or are they selling like hundreds of thousands of dollars?
Well, this says that, and again, it's hard to know, but they're saying that $45.7 million worth of comic books shipped in August. I don't know exactly what the sales number would be, but they're saying that if you look at that, it's down 26% from last
year. From the previous year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and top-selling comics, 35% of sales go to Marvel, 28% to DC, and then the rest is broken up among a bunch of different comic companies. But I would have thought with superhero movies and stuff that sales would be up.
That's still not the person who would technically read a comic book. That's
right.
Another level than a casual moviegoer. And if you've already got your fix from like the movies, then to spend even more money, it's not going to be for everybody.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like, again, for me, I just can't. I couldn't live in the comic book world. It's too expensive for me. But the Marvel Unlimited app, and I'll tell you right now, if DC came out with something like that, I would.
You'd make way for a little bit more money.
I actually would. It's embarrassing how many comic books I read every day. One day I'll grow up and read a book, but right now you just swipe right and get the next page in the comic.
That's perfectly fine.
Your morning, but without yelling, laughing, or music.
Don't deprive me of that.
We wouldn't dream of it. It's The Riot on Radio U.
From the Department of Statistics that are completely made up and completely exaggerated. I said we wouldn't do this, but it just makes me so mad I have to say something.
What is it?
HBO is claiming that Game of Thrones has been pirated over 1 billion times. Meaning
maybe.
Their claim is that I love this, 1 in every 7 people have pirated an episode of Game of Thrones.
Well, I think that's just when you're taking out highly concentrated areas and then spreading it out and attaching that to everybody. But I think if you count since the beginning of Game of Thrones, you could probably say that is true. Not the 1 in 7.
1 in 7? Well, here's Eric. There's 3 of us. We haven't pirated it. So that means if we go upstairs...
There's got to be someone else.
You know what? Actually, you know what? I'll bet you if we went upstairs, I'll bet 1 in 7 of us have pirated it.
I just think
it's true.
More people pirate things than you ever realize.
Sure.
And Game of Thrones, for people, no one wants to spend money even on any of the HBO stuff. So yes, I bet it is highly pirated.
Yeah. Well, I've had plenty of you guys email me and like, Obadiah, you don't have to pirate things. Just download this app and you can stream anything you want, which is piracy.
Is it too? Hey, people have no idea. Isn't it weird?
I love it. Like popcorn time. You can watch all the movies, everything. It's all free. You just install it and it's fine.
It's not. And that still falls under the pirated category.
And it's still technically piracy.
You might not be the most feared pirate of them all.
You may not
you're
be.
Still pirating.
Bootstrap Bill. It might not be you know? But you're still.
So I guess if you add all that together and all the people that really don't know what they're doing and then all the ones that do know what they're doing, yes, maybe 1 in 7 have downloaded and pirated Game of Thrones.
It's like a friend of mine that was like, yeah, I paid for this service and all the ads are gone and stuff and you can download anything you want. I'm like, no. It's still illegal. You're just no longer getting little ads on the illegal app that you use to...
It's something. It's better not to bring any more.
Just want to let it go.
I think
just stop right there. Okay, that's cool. So everybody, fly your flag. And what's wrong, Nikki?
Microphone's falling down again.
You know what?
This has not done that in a while. Did one of us hit the table?
No, the microphone's hanging its head because it's been pirating Game of Thrones. That's what that is.
Oh, you didn't know that? Oh, sorry, microphone.
It was like sad microphone.
my mic arm is, maybe let's put a little note. Think it needs tightening. It's falling down again.
Yeah, I'll get right on that.
This was the worst of the riot, and we'd like to congratulate you on having the stomach to stick around to the very end. The riot exists because Radio U exists, and Radio U only exists because of your support. Find out more and give now at radiou.com/donate.
Eric, could you come in here and change the toilet paper, please?